Before going to start today's session, let me to introduce the meaning of the difficult words used. The first one is grim. Grim means dismal and gloomy. The second one is threading. Threading here means passing through. And the third one is tremble. Tremble means to shake. So you have to write down all these words along with their meanings in your notebook. And in addition to these words, you are also requested to write down all the unfamiliar words given in your textbook in page number 76 and 77 along with their meanings in your notebook. You have words such as hovering about, chalked, then worked up, overalls, maintenance man, etc. So you have to, in addition to the words I have given, you are also requested to write down all those words and their meanings in your notebook. Okay. A very good morning to my dear students. Today, let us go for the completion of the story which we started in the last class. What was actually the story which we just started in the last class? Yeah, the story entitled as The Boy and the Swallow. So as we discussed in the last class, the story was all about the innocent nature of children. So in the story, we just came across three persons: the boy, his father, his mother. When we closely analyze the story, or based on the last class discussion, it is clearly understood that only the boy was too much worried about the swallow, or only the boy was too much worried about the sad plight of the swallow. When he just told about it to his father, the father was not at all interested. And when he told it to his mother, she was also not that much interested. But at the same time, the boy was very much concerned about the sad plight of the swallow. So, and the boy was actually trying to the boy's mind was actually longing to do something for saving the life of the young swallow. So this is actually the thing which we just discussed in the last class. Hope that you all loved the beginning part of the story. Anyway, let us continue with the story. Today we can go for the discussion of the next part. Today we can go to know what actually happens to the swallow, or what all rescue operations did the boy in order to save the life of the swallow, and was he a success in that. So all these questions I know that are remaining unanswered. So now let us go for a detailed discussion of the story in order to know what actually happens to the swallow, and was the boy's rescue operations successful or not. Yesterday we just saw that the boy could not in no way adjust with the present situation. Whenever he thought about the sad plight of the swallow, he could not even do anything. So that much he was attached, or that much he was concerned about the sad plight of the swallow. So in the last class we just saw that the boy was actually trying to build a mud fort just for only one reason. What was actually the reason? He just wanted to make himself relieved from his concern, or relieved from his own tensions. So for that, in order to relieve from his own tensions about the sad plight of the swallow, he actually tried to build a mud fort. And when he just came back from his playground to his home, we just saw that he was actually he was surprised while he saw a particular sight. What was actually the sight that made him completely surprised? He was actually surprised to see that the other members of the group, the other birds just came there, and they were hovering around the trapped bird. So just to convey the fact that a particular problem came to one member among them, they all got united. They were actually thinking at that time what help they could offer to the trapped one in order to save his life. So in that way, that paragraph clearly revealed the helping mentality of the birds. So the boy was very much surprised to see this. So suddenly he just rushed back to his home, and he dragged his mother out, and he let her to see this wonderful sight. Then the mother said that there is nothing to wonder about it. These are all normal things. If something happened to one among them, they would definitely extend their hand to save the life of the one who was being trapped. So at this point we just stopped in the last class. Okay, let us continue with the next part. I'm going to read the next paragraph, so please listen and read along with me. Andrew felt shocked, thinking about how they helped it. His own parents, on the other hand, would not even talk about it. With his keen eyes, he traced the way a climber could get up the tower. But if you did get up, what then? How could you touch the swallow? Just putting your hand near the wire would kill you. Then Andrew was again and again got surprised. He was actually thinking about the helping mentality of the other birds. And on the contrary, he was actually thinking about his own parents. When he just mentioned the same thing, that a bird was being trapped in a high voltage electricity line, they did not even respond. Then but now when the other birds came to know about the same thing, they just came and they were doing everything. They were doing their level best to help the trapped one. So in that way, he soon made a comparison between the attitude of the birds with that of the attitude of his parents. With his keen eyes, he traced the way a climber could get up the tower. Suddenly, an idea occurred to his mind that he could get up there. He could get up close to the bird with the help of a climber. Then again, another question came to his mind. If he did get up with the help of a climber, then how could he be able to touch the swallow? If he put his hand near the wire. Yeah, remember, it is high voltage electricity line that would definitely kill you. So then, yeah, Andrew was actually thinking another possible way. He could easily get up there with the use of a climber, but then how could he be able to touch the swallow? If he did touch the if he tried to touch the swallow, then if in case, yeah, he unconsciously put his hand near the wire, then definitely that would kill him. Okay, now let us continue with the next paragraph. I am going to read. Listen. The only way out was to get somebody to turn off the power for a minute. Then he could climb up the tower like a monkey. At dinner that night he suggested it, and his father was grim and angry. So according to the boy, the only possible way was to tell somebody to turn off the power for a minute. Then he would be able to climb up and save the life of the swallow without doing any harm to his own life. So this was actually the desirable or acceptable way for him in order to save the life of the swallow. So he suggested this idea to his father, but the father was very angry. Now listen. Listen, son, he said, I don't want you to get all worked up about that bird. You leave it alone. Then again and again the father expressed his disregard. The father said that, in my opinion, what do you mean by worked up? Yeah, upset about something. In my opinion, you don't need to worry about, or you don't need to upset too much about that bird. Leave that bird in its own way. Okay? Then listen. On Sunday night, he said to his mother, it's only the other birds that are keeping him alive. They were feeding him again today. I saw them. He can't live much longer, Mama. Why can't Papa get them to switch off the electricity? Then the boy said to his mother in a complaining manner that, Mama, why Papa is not taking care of the swallow? Look, all the other birds are doing their level best to make the swallow alive. Throughout the entire day, they are feeding the little swallow, and they are doing their level best to make its life alive. Then why we are not interested in doing that? At least we could do something to make it alive. So in that way, the boy was actually complaining about the behavior of Papa to his mother. Now let us continue with the next portion. I am going to read the next portion. Listen. They wouldn't do it for a bird, darling. Leaving for school the next morning, Andrew tried not to look up, but he couldn't help it, and there was a swallow spreading and closing its wings. He could not think of anything but the trapped bird on the power line. So then the mother said in an affectionate way that, my dear darling, my dear child, you don't pay much attention on that. They would never do that. Why they never do such things? Yeah, it is only a bird, and they would never give that much priority to the life of a bird, because it is they considered it as a silly thing, silly matter. If it was actually a human being, they would have been paid some attention, but it is not a human being, it is only a bird, so they would never pay too much attention on that. So you need not worry about too much on that particular thing. So, leaving for school the next morning, Andrew tried not to look up, but he could not help it, and there was the swallow spreading and closing its wings. So, when the next day he was actually passing through that way, his mind was too much concerned about the swallow that was being trapped in the power line. He could not think of anything but the trapped bird on the power line. So, in his mind, he could not think of anything rather than the sad plight of the swallow. So, the thought about the tiny swallow actually occupied his mind. Now listen, I am going to read the next part. After school, Andrew took a bus into town. Threading through the factory area, he went to the power station. When he got there, he was faced with an enormous high fence and a tall steel gate locked tight. So, in the boy's mind, nothing was there other than rescuing the swallow. So, with that purpose, he suddenly moved on to a town. And he was actually going to a town area, and he was actually moving through the factory area, and in that way he went to a power station. You know what a power station is. When he got there, he was faced with an enormous high fence and a tall steel gate locked tight. Yesterday I had shown you the image of a fencing area with barbed wire. So likewise, because why that place was fenced with a barbed wire? Because there was an electric pole carrying high voltage power lines. If that much security was assured for a high voltage power line, you could have imagined how much security would have been offered to a high power station. So in that way, the premises of the power station was kept in high security with an enormous and high fencing. Now let us continue with the next part. I am going to read. Listen. Andrew peered through the gate and saw some men who were off duty sitting in the sun. He called out to them, and a big man in brown overalls came over. Andrew explained what he wanted. If they would switch off the current, then he could go up and save the swallow. Suddenly, Andrew saw some men who were out from their daily work, and he just went to them, and he just expressed his need. What do you mean by overall? Okay, overall is the meaning is given there. A loose piece of clothing like a shirt and trousers in one piece, made of heavy cloth and usually worn over other clothing by workers doing dirty work. So if we are doing dirty work, see for example, we definitely use some over clothing over the usual cloth. That is meant here by overall. So when he went there, he just saw some people wearing some over clothes or some overcoats. Typically to convey the fact that they are actually off from their daily duty. Suddenly, Andrew approached them, and he actually told to them what he actually wanted. And he expressed his wish that if they would switch off the current, he could save the life of the swallow. I forgot to say the meaning of peer. What do you mean by peer? Peer means looking as if you are searching for somebody else. Okay, so here after Andrew just entered into the gate, he was actually looking them as if he was searching for somebody else. Okay, that is actually meant there by using the word peered. Okay, now let us continue with the next paragraph. I am going to read the next paragraph. Listen. The man smiled broadly and clicked his tongue. His name, he said, was Gus McCabney. He was just a maintenance man, and he could not switch off the current, but he unlocked the gate and let Andrew in. Ask them in there, he said. So when the man came across such an innocent demand that actually made the man, a little bit relaxed or a little bit wondered. That is what it is said, that the man smiled broadly, forgetting everything, he smiled broadly and clicked his tongue. So he was wondered at the strange demand of the boy. See, for example, if imagine that a human being was caught in a high voltage line, maybe that demand was what we say, that demand was at least it could be adjusted. But when the boy made such a demand for saving the life of a swallow, that according to the man found us very strange. Anyway, the man said that he was not the authentic person to give him the permission to do that. Anyway, the man unlocked the gate and the man allowed the boy to get inside. Ask them in there. The man said that you could go inside and you could take the permission from them. An engineer took Andrew to a big office. A black-haired man with glasses was sitting at a desk. Andrew did not say 5 words before his lips began trembling and 2 tears rolled down his cheeks. So, in that way, Andrew was brought inside the room. An engineer took him into a very big office. And there he could see a black-haired man with glasses was sitting at the desk. The moment Andrew saw the man with black hair having glasses, his lips started trembling. That much he was afraid when he saw the person. And the boy simply thought that he would not be able to say about his demand to such a person, because from his physical appearance itself, Andrew understood that he could not even say anything to that man. So that much he was afraid to stand in front of that person. So then how could he be able to share his demand? So when he thought all these things, suddenly he started crying. 2 tears rolled down his cheeks. Now let us continue with the next part. I am going to read the next part. Listen. The man told him, "Sit down, son, and don't be frightened." So the officer, in a very friendly manner, told to the boy that, sit down, my son, sit down. Don't get frightened. Okay, don't get frightened. I'm also a very casual person like you. Then the man tried to explain. How could they cut off the power? The trains would stop. hospitals would go dark in the middle of an operation. He knew Andrew was concerned about swallows, but things like that just happened, and that was life. Then, after making the boy sat there, the officer started saying about his condition. The officer said, "How could it be possible, my dear child, if I turn the power off? You please think about the trains that run using this electricity. And think about the hospitals. Yeah, the hospitals, the electricity is a must thing there. The hospitals could not function without electricity. If we turn the electricity, yeah, what will harm it would definitely do in the smooth working of a hospital. Yeah, see, for example, if an operation is going on, if we turned off, yeah, the electricity without proper notice, yeah, it would definitely affect the smooth functioning of, yeah, the operations and all other activities that happen in a hospital. He knew Andrew was concerned about swallows, but things like that just happened, and that was life. And I know that you are more concerned about the life of swallow. But what could we do? Yeah, this is life. So sometimes, yeah, we also became helpless in order to do some things. So this is life. This is part of life. So you are too much concerned about the swallow only because you are a child. You don't have that much experiences. When you grow older, yeah, you will come to know that things are like this. The big man smiled. He took down Andrew's name and address and he said, "You have done your best, Andrew. I am sorry, I can't promise you anything." Then the man took down Andrew's address and said that, "Andrew, what you did is a fantastic job. You have done your part best. Good, and congratulations. It is a pleasure for me to see such a child who is more concerned about the life of a little swallow. But I am so sorry. I could not promise you anything. I could not assure you that I could, turn off the power line and I could help you in order to save the life of the swallow." So in that way, the officer just sent the boy out. So at this point, let me to wind up today's session. I know that, you all know that the child Andrew, definitely Andrew became upset, Andrew became so sad, because Andrew just went there with a thought that they could at least do something for him to save the life of the swallow. But when the officer said so, probably and possibly the child might be upset. Anyway, at this point we can stop today's class. I hope that you understood everything which we discussed today. Anyway, thank you and have a nice day.